So I had a catch up with my good friend Dr. Paddy Mallon, who's head of infectious diseases in Trinity, and he's also a professor in UCD. The last couple of days in particular, I found quite hard. I found the news globally very depressing. I found that you can slip into a very dark pit of anxiety, worrying about it all. And I wanted to know lots of things. I wanted to know, is there light? Is there, from a parochial point of view, where are we as a country? Has anything changed? Is there anything to feel positive about? Because, there's so much negativity and it's such a sad thing that's happened to certain people out there. Is there any light? Is there any light? So I had a good chat with Paddy and I feel a little bit better now. And I thought a lot of you probably need to feel a little bit better too. So this is that chat. Be safe, take care of each other. Paddy, how are you? Sorry, I know you're busy, you're running around and I'm pestering you. I'm trying to stay upbeat at the moment. Look at me. I'm like someone who welcomes you off a plane. Welcome to the Maui Resort, Dr. Mallon.
It's like Fantasy Island.
It's not far off. How's your Fantasy Island? How are things going your end?
Yeah, good. We're busy, but we're staying on top of it. And they're great to see today. Overnight, we had a lot of people coming into hospital that are coming through our COVID pathway, but I think a lot of them don't actually have COVID. It's all of the people that would normally be coming to hospital are starting to come back, so that's good to see.
For civilians like myself and other people out there, it's a very up and down experience. Is it like that for you?
It's like every day there's some mini crisis, but nothing major. And all of the mini crises we just look at each day and we solve them. So overall, I'm really happy with how this is going. Obviously, it's been devastating for a number of people, but the country, I think, is doing its job well, and I'm a lot more confident now. Like, we're almost 3 weeks in the coronavirus in the country.
I was going to say that. Where are we at the moment? We're
almost 3 weeks into this virus spreading around the country, and it hasn't got the grip on the country in the same way that it did in other parts of Europe. And I think that is all down to the social distancing. I'm really encouraged, and I wouldn't say we're out of the woods yet, but I have a huge amount of optimism that we're starting to see real benefits of what people are doing out there.
You hear a lot about, sadly, the deaths, and even sometimes I get a sick feeling in my stomach when I see the news, and it's like the death toll, and here's the overall death, and it's just like, it's that kind of media it leaves us feeling very anxious. But you don't hear about the recovery side of things. Like, people are recovering. What's recovery like?
So there's two forms of the recovery. So we've got people that are coming into hospital and they're being discharged very quickly. And that's really good to see. And then we've got people that are coming into hospital sick, and some of them are ending up in ICU. And what's actually happening with them is that they're recovering from the viral infection very quickly, but it's the residual damage that this does to your lungs that takes a while for people to get better from. So although we're getting busier, I have a feeling that we're not getting overwhelmed with COVID. We're getting busy with a return to our normal day-to-day hospital work. And people coming in as they should do that are sick with other conditions.
And from an R&D point of view, are things changing daily, or is that something like? Do we know yet? Is there an immunity to someone who's had it, or is there any updates with anything like that?
So that's a massive effort that we're putting in at the minute. Is in the R&D. So everyone coming into hospital now is being asked to sign up to what we call the infectious diseases cohort study. And that's where we're getting consent from people to use their day-to-day information for research so that we can actually map out what this looks like in Ireland. That's really good because we've got the opportunity to learn a huge amount in Ireland about COVID. And a lot of other countries aren't able to do that because they're just completely swamped with the clinical side of things, that there's no staff left to do the research. We're lucky in that we're still able to do the research.
What happened in Italy, I think, has terrified everybody. What you see happening everywhere else in the UK or the States, New York, and you're like, we might have avoided that maybe just because we got on it a little bit quicker?
Well, that's the hope, and all of the signs at the moment are encouraging. Like, okay.
I know you're careful to say, okay.
but I'm not seeing anything at the moment that says that we're going to follow that pattern.
Wow.
So although people are sick and unfortunately people are dying, it's not to the same extent that they're seeing in other countries. We need to focus on where we are, because you can get distracted by what's going on in, like, as you say, in the world news, and
Yeah.
it is terrifying. But people shouldn't lose heart by looking at that. They should look at what we're doing and focus on what we're doing, and really, we just need to stay the course, because I think that we'll see through this if we stay the course, and all the early indications are that we're doing well.
People keep asking me about, washing their shopping, and, now the tiger got sick, do dogs get it? And, there's all this, like, dogs pick it up on their feet and all. I don't know. Like, is there any things you feel very strongly about? Or
If you really want to keep this virus out of your house, then you protect your environment. So if if the neighbor's pet cat is coming in, don't let it in. If the neighbor's pet dog's coming in, don't let it in. It's not that dogs are infecting or cats are infecting people, but if five or six people are petting a cat, and that cat walks into your house and you start petting it, in a way you're shaking hands with 5 or 6 people, and that just doesn't make sense. So in terms of the shopping, I think by and large, I think shopping's probably fine. But if you're worried about it and you want to wipe your shopping down, then wipe your shopping down. I mean, no one's going to criticize you for doing it. The masks thing, in terms of the public wearing masks, it's all of these things are all about what additional benefit they provide. And for our country, where we don't have a big density of people in general, and where we're already doing the social distancing thing well, you could argue that masks may have a very small additional benefit. What you would hate to do is to give people a false sense of security. What we're doing, I think, is working. If it wasn't working, I'd be going, yep, we should all be wearing masks because this clearly isn't working. But if it is working and you start to wear masks, and all of a sudden people start to think, well, I don't need the social distance anymore, or I can go and visit my grandmother, or I can go and visit because I'm wearing a mask. We don't know if that's the case. And in a way, that complacency that comes with wearing a mask could actually put us in danger.
in an ideal situation, I know none of this is ideal because people lose their lives, and there's no good scenario here. But in a best case scenario, what does the future look like? Like we say, we do start flattening the curve. When does life not go back to normal? But when does life start to not look the way it looks at the moment?
I mean, it could be pretty rapid, but it's not going to be that they're just going to lift all of the restrictions. What we need to do is to get within the country. We need to get in a position where we can go back to that containment phase that we were in at the beginning, and I don't think we're far off that. And when you get back to the containment phase, what you're saying is that you have the ability to be able to rapidly identify new cases and control them. And that's a public health testing piece. And the public health part of that is what we're light years ahead of where we were a couple of weeks ago. Once we get over the next 2 weeks, if we see the number of infections dropping off, it's at that stage where public health take over and contain any new infections. And once you can contain new infections, then you can start to lift restrictions slowly. So that could happen in as little as a couple of weeks, depending on how things go.
Wow. It's funny because it's been so up and down. I know we chatted there one day, and it was just very like this. It was very, the news was just all a bit, it's just hard to swallow. And I think people miss normality, but it makes sense that if we're in a certain phase, that we'll just reverse those phases as a kind of baby steps back to getting our society kind of clicking over and making sure everything's safe for everyone.
Like when we were last in containment phase, I think we had the capability maybe to do 400 or 500 tests a day, right? And the public health capabilities were really limited. We just had very few people available to do contact tracing. If we can get back to containment phase, even within the next week or the next 2 weeks, by what we're doing at the moment, we probably have the ability to do 4,500 to 5,000 tests a day. and we'll have enough public health people. Maybe, I know that they're talking about 4,000 public health. I think they got about 2,000 at the minute, getting that up to 4,000. That's a completely different ball game in terms of containment, because now you actually have the machinery in place to be able to contain the infection, and that's your get out. Once you're able to contain this and keep it contained, then you can start to slowly lift restrictions and see, can we handle this? And you do it bit by bit by bit by bit. But that's the way to stay. That's the way to stay virus free, is contain it.
Paddy, tell me this: is there any things that we didn't know that we know now? Like, is there anything to do with masks or how the virus is spread or anything, or is it all still the same?
I think that what we know now is that this virus transmits even when you have very mild symptoms. And I think that's the key. And that key message about people with any symptoms at all staying at home until their symptoms go, I think that's going to be key. We also know that pretty much once you get to 14 days, if you've had it, once you get to 14 days, you're really not going to be infectious anymore. So if you get symptoms and you sit tight in your house for 14 days and everyone in the house sits tight and tries just to cocoon themselves for that 14 days, then you can get back and you can start doing what it is that you want to do, because you're no longer a danger to pass on this infection to somebody else. And that's all good. We know that the measures that we're taking at the minute, when you look around the world, it's the only thing that has been shown to work. What we're doing, the social distancing, all of physical distancing, the staying at home where you can, that community support,
there's still no pharmaceutical intervention whatsoever yet, is there?
Not yet, but a lot of research going on in the area, and a lot of really exciting research going on in the area that we have the opportunity to lead on. And the results will come through faster than people will think. But the best medicine for this is the societal actions, and we have done really well as a country in that whole societal actions bit. We're nearly world leaders in terms of how to do this right, but we just need to keep at it. The quickest way out of this is to be as restrictive as possible for as long as we need to. Because the more impact that we have now, the quicker we'll be able to get back to the containment phase. And the quicker we're back at containment phase, the quicker we're out of this.
Yeah. And then society slowly starts.
And the society coming back, and when you say slowly, if you can maintain a functioning healthcare system like we have, and you can maintain, it means that outpatient clinics can get back very quickly, surgery can get back very quickly, schools can get back quicker. Everyone can start to get back to normal if we drive this virus into the dust. And the way to drive this virus into the dust is still really strict community measures. The more strict they are, the more people adhere to them, the faster we drive this virus out of our society, and then the faster people can get back to normal.
Paddy, you're the man. I feel better already. Really, I do. And I felt shit. I won't lie to you. The last few days, I just didn't look at the news too much. And I just had a couple of days there that I was a bit down about it. But today, it's funny, the sun came out today. I was looking at the paper and I knew I was chatting to you. And I do feel a little bit better about things, man.
So, Baz, you got to have a no-vid day. That's what one of the guys at work said to me. He said he had Sunday off and he had a no-vid Sunday. Just a day where you just stay away from COVID.
I think it's essential, man.
Everyone should prescribe themselves a no-vid day at least once a week.
It's a great idea. And then, you never know, we'll go to the Maui, we'll have some cocktails. It'll all be good, Paddy. It'll all be good.
Exactly.
Listen, I know how busy you are, so listen, thanks a million, Paddy. I'm sure I'll catch up with you again, but you're the man. You're the man. Thanks very much.
And tell everyone to keep doing what they're doing.
Will do, man. Will do. Thanks, Paddy.